Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is going to focus on how to write effective and compelling personal statements, especially if you are applying to a science-related degree. So today we're very lucky to have Lo from City University. Our speaker has lots of experience in helping students writing successful statements to showcase their strengths, achievements, and aspiration. So I hope you can join me welcoming Lo, and I hope you will make the most of this session. Please don't hesitate to ask questions during or after, and really learn as much as you can. I'll hand over to Lo now. Thank you.
Great. Can everyone hear me? Feel free to kind of like put a yes in the chat so I know one, the chats work, and two, everyone can hear me. So before we start, hi everyone, my name is Laura Mankwa. I work at City University of London and I'm one of the recruitment officers. Over the next few minutes, as Ms. has said, we are going to look at how to tackle a personal statement focusing predominantly on applying to science-related subjects. So let's just make sure my clicker works. Perfect. So we're going to look at what a personal statement is, how to get started in making a personal statement in terms of looking at how to make a plan. And then we're going to show, well, I'm going to show you the 3-section approach to writing a personal statement. And then I'll show you some good examples of a personal statement and then some final tips when it comes to writing a personal statement. Oh. See if this clicker is working. Okay, might not work, that's fine. So in terms of personal statements, before I start, I want to start by saying that I don't know if any of you have seen the news or the infamous TikTok about personal statement changing slightly as of next year. There is some truth to personal statements changing. However, the changes do not affect you since you are currently either in year 12 or in your first year of college or sixth form, which means when the changes do come into place, by that time you would have already started the application process, so it wouldn't impact you. So everything I'm saying today is what you need to know about personal statements. The things on the news about it changing from a statement format to a question format has nothing to do with you. So in terms of personal statement, it is really crucial to you applying to university. It's that thing that applicants send to universities, and it shows them how strong of an applicant they are for the course they want to study. So when it comes to writing personal statements, there are 2 questions I would always say you should ask yourself. The first question is, why are you even applying for the subjects that you want to study? And why do you think as an individual you are most suitable for the course you want to apply for? Think about the skills you have, any experiences, where your interest in that subject stem from. That is what makes a personal statement strong and differentiate it from the different applicants that apply to universities. Okay, I think the clicker, there we go. So why is the personal statement important? Just a few things. One, it allows you to provide evidence for the skills that the university is looking for. It allows you to show them that you have these skills. It also allows you to show your interest in the subject. Tell them the reason why you want to study mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or maths as a full-on subject. It allows you to show your ability as an independent learner. Have you spent some time in school, out of the classroom, researching into electronics because you want to do electrical engineering? Personal statement gives you the opportunity to demonstrate your abilities as an independent learner. It also lets you show your passion and commitment for the subject area you want to study. A lot of you on here might be doing BTech Applied Sciences, which means you have a general approach to the science program. A personal statement lets you show which parts of that science program you're most interested in. And it lets you stand out from the crowd. Right now, we have about 16 people on the call. If all of you are applying to the same university for the same subject, a personal statement is what will allow the admissions team to differentiate between you from the other person. Some of you that are applying for courses like biomedical sciences, most universities or some universities have an interview process. So personal statement, it could literally be the basis of you getting an interview or not getting an interview. And finally, writing a personal statement allows you to practice a lot of good writing skills. That is essential, not just to applying to university, but when you're done applying for jobs, applying for internships, applying for summer schemes, this is a good chance to practice them before you start your university journey. So in terms of the basis of a personal statement, as I said, the changes that have been broadcasted does not affect you. So the personal statements does still follow the 47 line and 4,000 character count. So when you're writing a personal statement, it's important to use paragraphs. That way there is a structured approach to you writing a personal statement. However, because personal statements have a 47 line cap, you need to make sure you're not using way too many paragraphs, but just using the right amount. As I've said, make sure you have a full-on structure. So have a clear beginning, a clear middle, and a clear end. That way, when the person picks up your statement and is reading it, they can follow it naturally. It's also important to use what we call the ABC method approach when writing personal statements, especially the paragraphs. So talk about the action, that's the A, the benefit, that's the B, and the C. This can either be the link to the course you're applying for or the career that you want to do after you apply for the course. So for example, if you want to become, let's say, a radiographer, so you're applying to study either oncology or diagnostic radiography at university, and you've had a chance to do a shadow scheme with the NHS, the A will be the action, which is the shadow scheme you took part in. The B, the benefit, would be, for example, when you went on that shadow scheme, you learned quite a bit about radiography and it's made you more determined to become a radiographer. That would be the benefit from that experience. And the C, being able to link the experience that you've just had back to the course you're applying for or the career you want to do. So for example, if you going through that shadow scheme has shown you that radiography is really where you want to go, but specifically diagnostic is where you want to be, you want to go into, that is how to use the ABC method. And as I've said, keep your personal statement short and sweet because you are limited to 4,000 characters and 47 lines. The UCAS application will cut your personal statement short if you go over the character count and over the 47 lines count. So make sure that you are paying attention to this bit. So things to be aware of. As I've said, UCAS will cut your personal statement long if it's more than 4,000 characters and if it's more than 47 lines. So focus more on the content of the personal statement rather than what it looks like. When you upload it to UCAS, it doesn't care about formatting. There's no such thing as formatting. So don't think you're going to print the personal statement and focus on making it look nice and fancy with bold italics. No formatting is needed in a personal statement. So just keep it nice and simple. And it's also important to remember that when it comes to personal statements, out of the 5 universities you apply to, all 5 of them see and need and use the same personal statement. Okay, they see, they need, and they use the same personal statement. So even if you're applying for different subjects or similar subjects, you will use the exact same personal statement for all 5 university applications. So for example, if you're applying for, let's say, biomedical sciences at 3 universities and applying for biomedical engineering at 2 universities, although the names are quite similar, they might be 2 different courses depending on where you apply to. So if you're writing a personal statement for 2 separate courses, make sure that there is an even balance between the 2 courses you're applying to. Does that make sense? So one statement for the 5 applications you're applying to. So make sure that you are focusing more on the content of the statement rather than the way it looks. So in terms of how to get started on writing a personal statement, as I've said, the personal statement what you should really focus on in a personal statement is the content, okay? So focus more on the skills, the attributes which you have or you have gained that would allow you to thrive at university. If you have no idea what your skills are, just take a moment, make a list of the skills that the university have said they need to see in an applicant. So if you're interested in, those of you interested in medical side of the sciences, so a lot of universities want to see the NHS values in your personal statement. So go through to NHS website, look at the NHS values, look at the skills they want to see, so commitment, patience, make a list of all of those things down, and then look at your individual self and think about the skills that you have and see if you can find the course related skills. So if you are applying for biomedical engineering, think about the technical side of biomedical engineering and think about the skills that you might have that might be similar to medical technology and make those links. So Think about your presentation skills, your teamwork skills. These are all skills that is very easy and very that you pick up in a BTEC, especially those doing BTEC, because BTECs are very vocational, hands-on qualifications. You really have transferable skills in your BTEC that you can apply to your university degree also, or you can apply to your personal statements. The fact that you are in a college or a sixth form right now means you have a lot of general skills. So leadership skills, teamwork skills, communication skills, these are all skills that you gain for the mere fact of you being in a classroom or discussing in a lesson or even working in teams within a session. So make sure that you're thinking about not just the general skills, but also the transferable skills that you gain from your BTEC or A level. The next step after you've made a plan, in terms of if once you figured out the skills you have and the skills that university need, research into those skills and experiences. A personal statement, we always say you show the reader, you do not tell the reader. Okay, you show them where you've gained the skills, how you gained the skills, and how these skills would help you thrive at university by reflecting on your experiences. You don't just say, I am a great communicator or I am great at teamwork. You show them through experiences. For example, instead of saying, I have great teamwork skills because I worked in this project in my science BTEC, show them, give them an example of when this happened. Were your teamwork skills being shown when you were working in a team, for example, in the science labs? Was it when you were working on a project? When was this skill being shown? Don't say it, show them. So make sure you give examples that is reflective of your experiences rather than telling them those experiences. So in terms of how you can show experiences, think about if you've done any extended project qualifications as the EPQ. Think about if you've done any MOOCs, if you've done any leadership or project management things at school, or if you've worked in a team, not just in the classroom, but think about your extracurricular. So do you play football? Do you have a part-time job? Do you babysit? Do you nanny? Think about things outside the classroom that might have relevant experiences that you can use within your personal statement. Once you've researched your skills and you've had all of these amazing things that you've done, put them to paper, okay? Create a template. Think about, as I've said before, when you're writing a personal statement, think about why you want to study the subject, where this interest came from, and then start from there. So why do you find this subject exciting? Why are you interested? Why do you want to work in this area? Why is this area of work so important, not just to the wider community, but to you as an individual? This is really important, especially why the work is important if you're applying for STEM-related subjects that are in healthcare. Think about why it matters to you, and then think about when you became super interested in this subject, where did it stem from? If you were to go and study this degree, think about how the degree you are studying would help you progress as an individual. If this is whether academic, so you might want to go into research, or if this is full-on career, so go straight from university into work. Make sure you create a template that you can follow in your personal statement. Now, the content. As I've said, you use one personal statement for the 5 applications that you make. So it is important that you structure your personal statement, and everything in the personal statement must relate to the course or career you want to study, or the career you want to go into. And the simplest way to do this is with the ABC method. As I've said, A stands for activity, B stands for benefit, and C stands for the course or career that you are applying for. So the activity, this could be either work experience for those of you that were fortunate enough to do work experience in year 10, those of you that have part-time jobs, those of you that have shadowed people, it's a great place to start. The activities could also be something you've gone out of your way to do. So this can either be you doing some research into a particular subject that you are taking on your BTEC. This could be volunteering, this could be extracurricular, and this could be something called supercurricular. Now, supercurricular, I think it's in this session, so I'll hold on. If not, I'll come back to supercurricular. And then once you've written about the activity, think about the benefit. So what skills have you gained from this activity? or what has this activity shown you about the course you're applying for, or what has this activity shown you about the career you want to become? Has it shown you that, yes, I want to work in healthcare, yes, I want to do radiography, but I want to go into oncology or diagnostic? Has it shown you that, yes, this career is not an easy path and has made you more determined to study the course to become, this profession? What exactly have you learned from this experience? And then finally, always make sure that when you write a paragraph, the last sentence, the last line in that paragraph must link to the course or career you're applying for. Even if it's a simple line as, doing a work experience at the NHS, or my part-time job at the care home has shown me that I need to be dedicated, or has given me more enthusiasm to study this course at university. Even if it's a simple line as that, make sure you end every single paragraph in your personal statement, linking it back to the degree you want to study or the career you want to become. Okay, everything you write, as I've said, should expand and should link back to the benefit. Never ever forget to link it back to the course or career. That is a mistake that most people typically make. And if you don't link it back to the career or the course you want to study, the paragraph is left sort of hanging, and that's not a great thing. After focusing on your personal statement and focus on the content that you can put into your personal statement, I always say, always structure your personal statement before you start writing it. This goes back to my initial point about having a template. Okay, there are 5 typical steps of a personal statement. The first being the introduction, why you want to study the course, what you've done to make you a suitable applicant for the course you want to study, your extracurricular activities, and finally concluding the personal statement. It is important to know that each of these 5 sections of a personal statement doesn't need to weigh the same. So there can be parts of the personal statement that is stronger than the other in terms of character count. Okay, so for example, if you give about 10% of your word count to introduction, it doesn't mean every single thing has to be 10%. People or university admission team really care about point number 2, 3, and 4 more than anything. They want to see why you're applying for the course, why you're interested, what you've done that makes you suitable, what you are doing that makes you suitable, and what you've done outside the classroom that's made you prepared for the course you want to study. Now, in terms of writing your personal statement, the first thing first is introduction. Make sure to break it down into 3 parts, okay? So an opening sentence to set the scene, and then think about outlining why you are applying for the degree, and then round off nice and easy with what makes you a suitable applicant. So tips in terms of writing a personal statement and what not to put into a personal statement is, we all know it's really hard to start a personal statement, especially if you haven't written one before or you haven't even applied for a job before, but avoid cliche sayings. Working at university, we've seen words like, I have always wanted to be a, or from childhood, all I've always wanted to be was a. Avoid cliche starting like that. And as I've said before, always show the reader the things you're trying to tell them. Don't just tell the reader. Okay, so focus on reflecting and explaining the things you are describing in your personal statement. Try to avoid humor if possible. We all have different sense of humors. What you think is funny and quite witty, an admission tutor might read that and think, what is this person trying to say? And in as much as quotations, may sound powerful or might be great, try to avoid using quotation marks. When I was about to apply to university a few years ago, and I was writing my personal statement, I was like, yes, they say quotations are used a lot in personal statements, but I am determined to find a quotation that no one has ever used. So I used this quotation, and a few years ago, when I was training to become a personal statement support person that helps with personal statements, I saw that a quotation that I use that I thought was so unique was out of the most frequently used quotations in personal statements. So no matter how unique you think the quote you're using is, it's more common than you think. So if possible, try to paraphrase it into your own words, or try to avoid them full stop, rather than have you being compared to another individual that has used the exact same quotations as you. So on the screen is some of the 10 most used personal statement starters that we've seen. I'm going to give you a few minutes, have a quick read of them, and then let me know if you were thinking of using these before or if you've heard of these quotations before. Great. I think that was more of a few seconds than a few minutes, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say about avoiding cliche sentence starters, especially words like from a young age, I have always been interested or always been fascinated. There are much more unique ways of starting a personal statement than from a young age. Now, the three-section approach to personal statement. We've talked about the introduction. Now we're going to look at the main content of the personal statement. So this is questions like, why do you want to study this course? Why have you done that makes you suitable? And what else have you done in terms of extracurricular or supercurricular activities that makes you equipped for the course? This slide right here is the chunk and bunk of your personal statement. It's literally the most important part. This is what admissions tutors see, read, and help them to understand or evaluate whether you are a suitable applicant for the course you want to study. So in terms of the first question, why do you want to study this course? Okay, so this is a good chance for you to explain your motivations for wanting to study the subjects you want to study or wanting to get into profession you want to go to. So for vocational courses such as nursing, those of you that want to get into nursing, think about what you like about the profession. Think about why it's the right career for you, not even just nursing. This can either be radiography, optometry. It could be a lot of the medical field related courses. Why is it the right one for you? For those of you that want to go into a different part of sciences that's not vocational, like nursing or radiography, want to go into research like chemistry or biology or biomedical sciences, those kind of academic related degrees, you tend to spend a lot of time studying the subject in detail. So think about why you want to spend so much time studying the subject in detail, thinking more about an academic approach rather than a vocational approach. Think about what you've enjoyed so far in your BTEC or A-level in that particular subject that has made you want to study it further. Once you've written about your interest in that subject, think about why it's even suitable for you. So you've talked about why you are suitable for that course. The next step is why you think that subject is suitable for you. So you're flipping it around. And as I've mentioned, when it comes to science-related subjects, there are two routes. There is the academic route and the vocational route. Okay, so in terms of academics, so even if we're using biomedical sciences as an example, the biomedical sciences degree are more academic, so more research, more lab work. Okay, a vocational route is biomedical engineering, which is more practical, more hands-on, dealing with the machinery in healthcare that can be used to solve problems. So if you've decided to go for the academic route into researching into biomedical sciences, researching into illnesses, researching into blood patterns, why have you gone down that route? If you've gone into the vocational side in terms of using the machinery, learning how to use technology, why have you chosen the academic over vocational or vocational over academic? So think about the differences between the courses you want to study and why you're choosing the separate route. This is the biggest part of a personal statement, because once you've chosen the route you want to go into, you need to be able to make sure that you are able to demonstrate your experiences or demonstrate why the route you've chosen is a better route for you. We're not asking you to say, I have chosen to study biomedical sciences over biomedical engineering because X, Y, and Z. That's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking you to do is to show your passion, dedication, and your love for biomedical engineering so strongly in a personal statement that admission teams wouldn't wonder why you didn't apply for biomedical sciences instead. Oh, sorry, skip the slide. So in terms of what else you've done, before I get into this bit, does anyone have any questions? Because I know the chats haven't been popping up with questions. So if you've got questions, just feel free to put them down. There will be time at the end to ask questions and I'll answer them at the end. So make sure to write down questions as you're going through. So In terms of what else you've done, so as a rule of thumb, 75% of your personal statement should be about the course you're applying for. So if this is linking what you're studying in your A-level or B-Tech to the degree, if it's about your passion for the course or the career you want to go into, this should be the huge chunk of your personal statement. The remaining and little chunk, the 25%, is about extracurricular activities. Now, when it comes to extracurricular activities, there are two kinds. What really is extracurricular activities? So this is things like volunteering. This is things like your part-time job. This is things like your EPQ if you're doing any, MOOCs if you're doing any, and then there is something else called supercurricular. So this is the term that I mentioned at the start of this session. Supercurricular is a fancy term that we university advisors have coined together to show to show that the learner has shown interest in the subject they're applying for out of the classroom, out of the boundaries of the school. Okay, so examples of supercurricular could simply be what I've mentioned earlier about NHS shadowing. It could be you speaking to someone in the profession you want to become and having a wider understanding of their day-to-day job, and it strengthening your decision to study that subject. Okay, supercurricular could also be as simple as you writing a blog about the course you want to study. It could also simply be you join a competition in the national science competition. It could be you working on a side project, just doing something that your teachers have an influence, that your school has an influence, that you've gone out of your way to get involved in, to show interest in the course or career that you want to be a part of. That is supercurricular. Now, if your personal statement has a strong supercurricular and a strong extracurricular, it makes your personal statement so strong and unique, it stands out. So the reason why we want to see you engage or do things outside your studies is it allows you to build up more skills and build up more experiences that shows that you've learned something at school, you've gone out of your way to apply what you've learned out of the classroom, and you've gained some skills from it. All of this shows that you're an independent individual, that you've got great time management skills because you've got your schoolwork, you've got your personal life, but you've still managed to do something else outside that has strengthened your choice to become a doctor or a medic or a nurse, okay? And it also shows your organizational skills because if you can balance all of these things together, it shows that you will be able to balance your workload at university. And as I've always said before, and I will keep on saying this because this is literally the most important thing when it comes to personal statement, do not just list your activities, do not just list your experiences, do not just list the skills that you have gained. Write about them using the ABC method. So for those who have just joined, the ABC method is A for activity, B for benefit, and C for the course, linking to the course or career. Everything you do must link back to what you're applying for at university, and most importantly, should link back to the career that you want to become if you're going down the vocational route. And then once you've done, write a solid conclusion. Okay, you've got a great introduction, you've written 2 or 3 paragraphs using the ABC method, looking at what you're studying at school right now, looking at supercurricular, looking at extracurricular, your volunteering opportunities. All of that is great, but it won't have a well-rounded personal statement feel if you don't write a solid conclusion, okay? Your personal statement should have a conclusion, even if it's one sentence, even if it's the things I have mentioned above has made me, has cemented the fact that I want to study biomedical science at university, or learning about the NHS values has made me certain in my decision to become a nurse after university. Whatever it is, make sure there is one sentence that rounds it off. The conclusion can link to your future career. It can link to how university would help you achieve your end goal. It can link to your decision to maybe do further study after university or after your first degree. It could also just be a summarizing point. So if you've talked about something really particular in your personal statement, for example, you being very enthusiastic to study, I don't know, dyslexia at university or research into sickle cell anemia, if you just summarize them by saying you're excited to study biomedical sciences because you want to research into sickle cell anemia, that is a great conclusion. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be lengthy. It just need to have a simple one sentence conclusion if you can't think of anything. Great. So as I've mentioned, again, I think this might be the third time I'm saying this, but the things you've seen on TikTok or the things you've seen in the news about personal statements changing does not impact you. So you are very much confined within the 4,000 character count in the application process when you're applying to university. So make sure that you are very objective when writing a personal statement. Don't have way too many sentences, don't have way too many lines, because you are again confined by the 47 line count. Try not to be too descriptive. Okay. Yes, we want you to show us your experiences rather than tell us your experiences. So, but don't be too descriptive. Keep it short and sweet. Okay. And it's easier to cut down your word count if you're using the ABC approach, because it's as simple as listen to the activity, talk about the benefit, talk about the link to your course or career. If you're struggling with the C part, or if you're struggling with the word count, the C bit, which is the links to course and career, is the easiest bit to reduce the word count. Because as I said, that can easily be a single line that just shows this activity has made me firm in my decision to become X. That's how simple the C bit needs to be. You just need to make sure you've included the C bit. Now, I've done a lot of talking about what a personal statement should look like. So what I'm going to do now is show you what a strong personal statement looks like. And I'm going to show you what made them strong and the tips that they followed to make that personal statement look strong. Typically, if I was delivering this session in a classroom, it would be a bit more interactive. But unfortunately, since we're online today, it's more of me just reading, giving you some time to read the personal statement and then going through the tips. So this is an example of a personal statement introduction. I don't know if you want me to read it out loud or if you're okay with me just leaving it on the screen for you to read, and then I'll highlight what makes it strong or what made it weak. Just give me a thumbs up if you want me to read, or a thumbs down if you're okay with me just leaving it on the screen. Okay, so I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, cool. So in the introduction, it says, both computer, hardware, and electronics are a fascination of mine that grew during the lockdown. This allowed me to develop my interest, passion, and technical understanding of components and their communication. I watched videos and read articles about the design and manufacturing of these components in depth. I now follow the development of emerging technologies from companies such as AMD and TSMC, and I'm inspired by the innovation and impact that they have on electronic devices. I want to be part of the ever-evolving development of technology, and this has encouraged me to study electrical and electronic engineering. Now, I know that the chat works, so before I even go on to the to show you guys what makes this introduction strong or weaker, can you put in the chat if you know what has made this introduction super strong? It doesn't have to be a full-on paragraph. It can just be a simple sentence of what you think has made this intro strong. I know there's over 20 people in this chat, so I'm just waiting to see at least one comment on why you think this personal statement introduction is strong or what you think in it makes it weak. Yep, shows passion for the subject. That's really good. It's informative. That's really good. Any other comments before I show you what I've highlighted? Anything else? Think about what I've said an introduction should be, or what you should include in the personal statement, and wonder if this person has included any of those things. So in terms of what I said about your personal statement introduction, if you can, should show specifically when your interest in that subject started from. Starting off with from a very young age or ever since I was a child, that is a generic way to start a personal statement and is so cliche. And a lot of people typically go down that route. If you can, be very specific in terms of where your interest started. And this individual has done exactly that by highlighting when their interest in the subject started from. What they've also done is they've expanded. So remember, they've shown the reader where their interest and passion came from. And they've shown that not only are they interested in this subject, not only do they want to become, not only do they want to get into this field, but they've gone ahead to do additional research. They've watched videos, they've read articles, they've learned about the design and manufacturing of the components that they've mentioned that they're interested in. So that is how strong a personal statement introduction should be. And finally, they are very clear on what they want to study. Now, I've read many a personal statement introductions where the person has written an introduction, and in the introduction, they failed to talk about what they want to study. I, as a personal statement reader, should not read onto your second paragraph before I am gathering what you want to study. In your introduction is very important. It doesn't have to be at the end. It can be in the middle, or it can even be at the start. Make it very clear and very simple to personal statement readers like me, admission tutors. Make it very easy for us to know what you want to study. Don't have us second guess the subjects you want to study. I understand that sometimes you think because you've mentioned computer hardware, you've mentioned electronics, you've mentioned blood vessels, or you've mentioned cells, that we should be able to gather that you want to study a particular subject. No, make it super clear. This statement is a good example because even in the field of engineering, there is so many kinds. There is electrical, as they've mentioned, there is electrical engineering as a degree by itself. There's electronics engineering as a degree by itself, and there's the two of them combined. So make it super easy for us by making sure in your introduction, you've made it super clear what you want to study. Now, the next bit is an example of the paragraphs. As I've said, when writing a personal statement, it should be relatively easy for you if you have a lot of experiences to put in a personal statement. And when writing that personal statement, just use a simple A, B, C method. Okay. So again, trying to get you guys to interact a little bit here. Put in the chat what in this paragraph makes it strong, what you think makes it weak, and actually ask yourself, do you think the ABC method is easy to pick up in this paragraph? Again, I'll give you a few minutes. There are, again, over 20 people in this chat, so I should see, well, I'm expecting at least 3 comments this time in terms of what has made this paragraph stronger or weaker, and if you think they've used the ABC method. Or do you want me to read out the statement? Again, if you want me to read, just put your hand up or put a thumbs up and I'll just start reading. But yeah, great. I'll just give it a read. So in my A-levels, physics has been my main influence into taking the EEE course due to relatable topics like capacitance and electricity, which has also helped with my understanding of computer software, so computer hardware, such as power supplies. This led me to compete in a national-wide physics Olympiad, where I achieved bronze, improving my confidence and understanding of physics, and has benefited me in my reasoning and has benefited me in my application and knowledge in real life experience and real life scenarios. Similarly, maths has improved my reasoning and analytical skills. I enjoy problem solving, which I will apply to projects and assessments on the EEE course. EEE is where maths, science, and creativity meet. Tech and design and technology provides a platform for me to apply my maths and scientific skills creatively. I completed a LAMP project that taught me how to build circuits and effective product development, which are skills that would help me succeed on the course. Now that I've read it, again, I'm waiting to see some comments in the chat, what you think has made this strong, what you think has made this weak, and if you think there's anything they can do to improve, or even if you think they've used the ABC structure that I've been hammering on about in this session. Yep, it shows their skills that they've gained during the A-level and how that applies to the university course. Great one, Ella. Anyone else? Again, more than 20 people on this chat, so I'm expecting to see at least 3 comments on this paragraph before I move on. Yep, so they've done a personal project, and this links really well to what I just spoke about in terms of supercurricular and extracurricular. Yep, well done. Anything else? Just one more comment, and then I'll move on to show you the skills and tips. Yep, they've mentioned activities, and they've done activities outside the course they're doing right now at school. Exactly, and this is something that you people that want to do, or everyone on this course that wants to apply for university and do a STEM related course at university. Right now, you're either in year 12 or you're in your first year of your BTEC, which means exams and courseworks haven't picked up just yet. It will pick up in September after the summer holidays. So use your summer to invest in your career choices, invest in the course you want to study. You've got about, what, 3 months? And get involved in national-wide competitions, attend summer schools, do research projects, even write a project and come back and let your teachers mark that project. Those are good ways to make sure that you're building up an activity bank that you can take things from to write a personal statement. So in terms of this paragraph, what this individual has done is they've shown their initiative to create new experiences and implemented on what they've learned at school outside the classroom. If you're able to do that in your personal statement, that is great. Now, for those of us on this call that are doing a BTEC, this is so easy for us to do because chances are in your BTEC Applied Sciences, there are subjects, elements, and topics in your BTEC that can be found in a university degree, because a BTEC prepares you vocationally for the course that you want to study. So if you're thinking, this is all well and good, but how am I going to link my BTEC? Because this person has 3 subjects, I only have 1. You've got over 9 different units in your BTEC that you have subjects in that can be found at university. If you're stuck, my best advice in writing a strong personal statement paragraph like this is sit down, write a list of the units you've done in your BTEC or you are going to do in your BTEC, and then compare that list to the modules at university that you can study or you will be studying if you were to go to university to do a certain degree. You're going to find similarities in any university module any university module that is found in your BTEC. So if you're thinking, I can't be this expressive, yes, you can. There are more than 9 units in your BTEC and there are lots of university modules. So just find similarities and link them together. What this person has also done is they've shown their understanding of the course they're applying for, and they've shown how the skills they already have, for example, problem solving creativity, has prepared them and will enable them to thrive on the course. Again, the same thing goes for everyone on this call, especially those doing a BTEC and those doing A-level science, whether that's biology, chemistry, physics. The fact that you're doing an A-level or a BTEC in a science subject means you're gaining transferable skills in your A-level and your BTEC that will give you a lot of things to expand on in your personal statement. Now, as I've mentioned, every single personal statement should have a conclusion, okay? And as I've said, it doesn't have to be an extravagant paragraph explaining things. It can literally be a sentence at the end of your final paragraph in your personal statement that sums it all together. And this person very nicely just literally said, this experience, which they've just spoken about, confirmed their commitment to study engineering or to the study of engineering. That is as simple and how short your conclusion needs to be. It doesn't have to be extravagant, okay? Now, I've done a lot of talking in terms of explaining what personal statement is, thinking about how to get started and make a good plan, going through the 3-section approach to writing a personal statement, and also showing you examples of what a good personal statement looks like, which I hope by showing you examples of good personal statement examples, you kind of like picked up things not to include in a personal statement. Now, the final tips in terms of what you should include in a personal statement. Make sure when you're applying for the personal statement that your enthusiasm for the course is clear. As I've mentioned, we don't expect you to be like, I am not applying for this course because, or I'm applying for this subject over that subject because X, Y, and Z. Don't do any of that. Just make sure your passion is oozing for the course you're applying for, okay? And then just make sure that you understand the current challenges within the discipline you're applying for. Most of you on this course might be applying for subjects within the NHS. Make sure that you're well in tuned with the challenges that are currently happening within the NHS. And then also think about the skills that you need for the course. Again, going back to NHS values, in your personal statement, especially those applying for nursing, midwifery, radiography, optometry, medicine, pharmacy, pharmacology, think about the NHS value because those are very NHS heavy professions that it's almost likely you will end up working in the NHS. So make sure that your personal statement literally is screaming the NHS values. So when they pick it up, they know that you understand the profession you want to get into. And then always make sure that the examples that you're writing a personal statement are good examples and that is relevant to the career or the course you want to study at university. And as I've mentioned, make sure that your personal statement is well-rounded, is well-structured, and follows a simple introduction, main body, conclusion approach. The ABC method is super crucial when it comes to writing a personal statement and making sure that your experiences are shining in those 4,000 characters. Now, in terms of things that you should do and should not do, let's start with things that you shouldn't do. Your teachers have been so kind enough to get me on this call very early in your university journey. Okay, so now that I've done this talk, if you've got any questions, let your teachers know and they will let me know and we can support you further. Now, because you've started early, make sure you also start early. Do not leave the personal statement to last minute, okay? In as much as we want you to express yourself in your personal statement and talk about the great things you've achieved, do not sound too boastful. Reflect on your experiences. Do not brag about the experiences. Try not to be too funny or controversial, and do not write about the things. Don't just list the things you've done. Remember, reflect on them, show us what you've done, and show us this through your skills you've gained and the things you've benefited from your experiences. And there's never a thing as too many people have read my personal statement. No, once you've written your personal statement, get as many people as you can to proofread your personal statement. I'm not saying get your friends to do it. I mean, they can, but it's really important if you get a teacher, a parent, a guardian, an advisor like myself, someone that's done this thing before and know what they're doing to proofread your personal statement before you submit it. And most importantly, please do not use AI or do not plagiarize your personal statement. UCAS has a database. When you write a personal statement, it goes through that database. So if you think you're going to take somebody else's personal statement, refresh it and turn it into your own, we will pick it up. Okay, UCAS will flag it up. So it will be a shame to have your applications rejected or returned just because you've plagiarized somebody else's personal statement. Make sure it's your own. See this as a chance for you to express yourself, show the love for the subjects you want to study, and just don't see it as a thing of it's a burden or one thing you have to do to go into university. No, Personal statements will help you develop skills that's essential to writing a job application when you're done. So enjoy it while you start. Okay, so remember to plan your personal statement, sell yourself as a strong applicant, be honest, sound natural, don't try to be too controversial, be self-aware, reflective in the things you talk about in your personal statement. Get it proofread and make it personal to you. You need to stand out. Don't be too generic in your personal statement. And in terms of timelines for your personal statement, those of you that are thinking of applying to medicine in particular, dentistry, or even applying to Oxford and Cambridge, your deadline is well ahead of everyone else's deadline. There is a 15th October 2023 deadline for you. So if you're interested in medicine, dentistry, or applying to Oxbridge, you really need to start right now in terms of your personal statement. And then from everyone else, start right now, finalize your personal statement by September to have it ready to submit in October. And then everyone that has a later deadline of 31st January 2024, you do have a bit more time, but not too much, so don't be too flexible with your time. If you don't know what you want to study, you can't start your personal statement. Okay, so make sure you know what you want to study before you start your personal statement. But yeah, that brings me to the end of my talk. Especially in the summer term, for those of you that don't need to meet the 15th October deadline, use your summer to explore the different courses that there are in STEM, the different subjects, the different vocational or academic routes. Figure out what you want to study, because as I've said, if you don't know what you want to study at university, there's no point in you starting or writing a personal statement. Thank you everyone so much for being so attentive in this course. I know sometimes screen fatigue is a thing, so I really appreciate you paying attention. Thank you so much. Let me know if you've got any questions.